Good evening. The Senate Committee on Ways and Means is recommending permanently banning Philippine offshore gaming operators in the country. The committee's chair, Senator Win Gatchalian, says the recommendation was contained in Committee Report number 136. The report, which was filed on Tuesday, was also signed by Senators Bato de la Rosa, J.V. Ejercito, Pia Cayetano, Grace Poe, Rafi Tulfo, Risa Ontiveros, Loren Legarda, Joel Villanueva, and Coco Pimentel. According to Gatchalian, the closure of Pogos in the country would be an important step to prevent the rampant crimes committed by these companies. Citing data from the Philippine National Police, Gatchalian says at least 4,000 were victims of Pogo-related crimes from January 2017 to June 2023. He adds the crimes involved human trafficking, forcible abduction, and homicide, among others. An official from the National Security Council says President Bongbong Marcos instructed a non-military approach when it comes to tensions in the West Philippine Sea. In a television interview, NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya explains that the China Coast Guard and Maritime Militia are under the Chinese Military Commission. He says this is opposed to the Philippine Coast Guard being part of civilian service. Asked if the Philippines should respond to China's recent aggressions not just with the PCG but with the Philippine Navy as well, Malaya says the president ordered to civilianize the approach. He adds that this means the PCG will be the ones facing their Chinese counterparts, with the Navy acting only as a support. According to Malaya, the government wants to keep tensions low in the disputed waters. Philippine vessels on resupply missions to BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal were met with water cannons and dangerous maneuvers from the China Coast Guard and Maritime Militia. The armed forces of the Philippines earlier reported the swarming of Chinese vessels in the West Philippine Sea. The Commission on Elections is now exempting the fuel subsidy program for public utility vehicles along with other transportation projects from the 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections spending ban. In a memorandum dated September 20, COMELEC Chair George Garcia approves the exemption of the fuel subsidy program, the PUV service contracting program, and the PUV modernization program from the spending ban. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board and the Land Bank of the Philippines may now resume the distribution of fuel subsidies to over 1 million PUV drivers and operators. The fuel subsidy comes as continuous oil price hikes impact PUV drivers. Congress is on track for the passage of 20 priority bills under the Marcos administration by the end of the year, according to Malacanang. As quoted by the Palace, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri vows to pass by December the remaining 10 priority measures named by the President Bongbong Marcos and the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council. Zubiri says the upper chamber has been able to pass half of the 20 priority measures. The Senate President also says lawmakers will pass the General Appropriations Act for 2024 by December as well. For his part, Speaker Martin Romualdez says the House of Representatives has passed 18 out of the 20 legislative priorities. Among the measures eyed for passage by year-end are the National Citizen Service Training Program Act, the Military and Uniformed Personnel Pension System Act, and the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act. The Department of Education is set to receive the highest share of the proposed budget allotted for digitalization efforts, according to the Department of Budget and Management. In a statement, DBM says 38.75 billion pesos in the 2024 proposed national budget has been dedicated to the government's overall digitalization efforts. This figure is a 60.6% increase from the 2023 budget of 24.93 billion pesos. At around one-fourth of the digitalization budget, DepEd will receive the highest allotment at 9.43 billion pesos. Following DepEd are the Department of Justice with 5.55 billion peso digitalization budget and the Department of Information and Communications Technology with 5.34 billion pesos. This comes amid a hot debate regarding DepEd's controversial confidential funds, which amount to 150 million pesos in the proposed 2024 budget. The management of the Light Rail Transit Line 1 announces that it will conduct rail replacement works at Baclaran Station from September 20 to 24, resulting in limited train deployment, movement, and headway. According to Light Rail Manila Corporation, a section of Baclaran's reversing tracks will be closed from Tuesday, September 20 to Sunday, September 24 to make way for the maintenance activity. LRMC says this will affect LRT-1's train movements, deployment, and usage of station platforms for loading and unloading passengers. It will also increase LRT-1's train timetable and headway from 4 minutes to approximately 5 minutes. LRT-1 operations are expected to normalize by Monday, September 25. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Ervin Santiago ng Bandera. Ervin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Nakausap natin ang kontrobersyal na aktres na si Matet De Leon tungkol sa nakakalokang karanasan niya bilang PWD o persons with disabilities. Ipinaliwanag niya kung ano ba talaga ang nangyari nang paalisin siya ng isang babae nang pumila siya sa PWD lane ng isang supermarket kamakailan. Ayon kay Matet, hiyang-hiya raw talaga siya ng sitahin at palipati ng isang shopper dahil sa PWD lane daw siya pumila kasabay ng pagtataas ng kilay ng mga nakasaksi sa insidente. Ang feeling ng aktres, inakala ng mga taong nasa loob ng grocery store na nagpapanggap lang siya bilang PWD para mapabilis ang pagbabayad niya sa cashier. Sabi pa ni Matet, ang issue lang niya ay ang pagbibigay ng respeto sa mga tulad niyang PWD na hindi visible ang disability. Nauna nang sinabi ni Matet na isa siyang bipolar at totoong meron siyang disability na na-diagnose ng doktor. Meron din daw siyang ID at PWD booklet na napilitan niyang ilabas ng sitahin nga siya sa pila.
Issue ko lang doon is respeto siguro dun sa mga hindi nakikita disability. Kasi a lot of people don't know kung anong pinagdadaanan ng iba. Pag depressed kasi ang isang tao, sobrang hirap maligo, sobrang hirap kumain, sobrang hirap lahat. Baka pati yung pagtayo at pagbili ng mga kailangan nila sa grocery, hirap na hirap sila. Hindi nyo alam. Di ba? So, baka may pinagdadaanan mo din.
At yan ang Bandera Chika natin today. Thanks, Neil.
Maraming salamat Sir Ervin. Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. National Security Council official says President Bongbong Marcos instructed a non-military approach when it comes to tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla calls for international action against China for alleged massive coral harvesting and destruction of reefs in the West Philippine Sea. And the Senate Committee on Ways and Means recommends permanently banning Philippine offshore gaming operators in the country. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.